Yeah, so there's these 3 buckets of parents. You've got people whose kids, they're aware that there's issues, they are super engaged, they desire to be engaged, they tend to be very proactive. Maybe their kids are younger and they've seen the news, they see what's happening at the schools. And so they're all in, and they're like, how do I stay involved before this is a big mushroom cloud? Then you've got this second bucket of parents, which is, you know, they want to be engaged, they're too busy, they don't really know how. Maybe they think it's mostly happening to other people's kids, and their kid is a good kid, and they don't want to damage the relationship by doing something that might send a signal that their kid's not good. But they understand the importance, and so there's we've talked a lot about how those parents might engage.
A little less engaged for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're a little less engaged, and they kind of they give themselves a pass. Candidly, that's what happens. They go, well, I'm busy and my kid's good. So I'm pretty sure they'd tell me if there was a problem. Maybe they don't know how to tell you about certain things. And some things you may think is a problem that they don't know is a problem. So, those are the parents that I think it's the most important for them to get that wake-up call, because they think everything's fine. And the reality is, just to put a perspective in this, if you go into an average high school, by the time those kids have graduated, 1 in 4 of those kids will admit to having sent a naked picture of themselves to a friend or stranger. I mean, that's really shocking numbers, right? So to suggest that your child either hasn't done it, hasn't received it, or hasn't been forwarded one of these things is kind of ridiculous. Even if your child is not a party to it, just knowing that it's happening around them, how do they speak into this situation to be a voice for good, to try to tell someone not to forward this, right? So it's important for parents, even in that bucket where they're not fully engaged, kind of right that ship. So, and then there's this third bucket where the parent's hair is on fire. There's a real trauma that's taking place in the house. Maybe their kid is sending messages to someone they shouldn't be, like my son, what was happening, or they've discovered some pictures which are inappropriate, either coming or going, or there's been a repeat pattern of poor decision making. So parents are just, their hair is on fire and they don't know what to do. Look, the most important decision that the parent makes at that point is around their child's safety. So that's first to understand that correcting the long-term behavior actually becomes secondary at this point. It's important to take actually aggressive actions to make sure your kid is safe. So if that means taking phones, shutting things down for a while, that may be necessary. Sometimes we want to try to handle things diplomatically because we're trying to retain some sort of a relationship.
When the hair's on fire,
it's too late.
It's too late. You need to protect your child.
Yeah, I mean, this goes exactly to my situation. I would have loved to have at that time be able to turn back the clock and say, gosh, I want to retain a good relationship with my child. Well, if I'm being honest with myself, my son created a social network and email accounts and chats behind my back because there wasn't a relationship. So trying to protect something that didn't exist is fantasy land. What I need to do now is to stop it right now and protect my child. And then after my child is out of harm's way, then I can take a step back and I can say, let's restore that relationship. Let's build a relationship that may not have been there to begin with.
That's right. That's right.
But I think too often parents are afraid of the confrontation and they're trying to protect something that doesn't exist, which is this trusting, open, communicative relationship that obviously doesn't exist, or the hair wouldn't be on fire to begin with.